Welcome to episode 60 and one fucking half of basically a Geek Show's World of Warcraft Legion stuff. We're
coverage,
doing
I guess.
I hesitate to call anything that we do coverage.
Yeah, you know.
In
the broadest sense of the word.
It implies that we are competent journalists, and we are neither of those things.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Redneck and the Canuck get drunk and talk about wild shit.
So, I guess we were talking about before we lit this up. You mentioned, Jack, that you were unaware that the Demon Hunter class was going to be a hero class.
Yeah, because yesterday when we were watching the unveil, it was like, rapid fire, boom, 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 and
it was rapid fire. You love this, right?
Right. And the thing is, like, from I don't know if you had this issue or not, Mike. I think we both did. Yesterday was kind of like an experiment for Mike and I in just doing something a bit different. The results were mixed. I think
the results were mixed because at the end of the day, I mean, we're both WoW fans, so we had this idea that, like, oh, it'll be awesome our live reactions, but then because we're both WoW fans, we're like, let's shut up and listen to all this cool stuff.
Right. So, the preceding segment of the show is probably not the highest quality of what I would like for it to have been.
Yeah, but at the same time, dear listeners, we'll provide you with a link to the unveiling so you can listen along, and hopefully during the dead air, you guys, even if you're not into WoW, can maybe listen to some of that and see if you find any of it even remotely interesting, that might work. I don't know. But, yeah, it was an experiment, and we now know what we gotta do better if we ever want to do this again. But
which I would like to. I mean, it was enjoyable to do.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was something that we're both not quite so passionate about in the future. I would like to do that Atari Jaguar commercial.
The one that we talked about a few episodes back.
I think that would be great. I mean, we've already seen it. We know what's there, right? And I think it would just make, like, natural riff material.
It's pretty fucking, it's pretty fucking easy, on that front. I mean, god damn. And I thought Sega's commercials in the 90s were batshit insane.
Sega!
Sega's marketing department looks downright sober compared to whatever the fuck Atari was doing at the time. But anyway, I digress. You mentioned that you didn't know it was a hero class. For those listeners who maybe aren't familiar with what that is, in WoW, like any other MMORPG, when you create your character, you pick your race and your class. And the class is basically, what your character is. Is he a hunter, a mage, a warlock, a paladin, a warrior, that sort of thing. And like most classes start you off, like you start level 1, you create your character, it's level 1, they give you a level 1 class quests and you kind of go from there. The DKs in Lich King were the first hero class, and what that one was, when you've created a character that's level 55, you unlock the ability to create a DK who starts at level 55.
Right, and the thing with that is, and Mike and I were just talking about this, because like I was saying earlier, during the presentation, it was all very rapid-fire material. I did not know or did not catch that the Demon Hunter was to be a hero class, which even back when Lich King was still the new expansion, right? You had all of us sitting there speculating, will the next expansion after this have a hero class? What would it be? And pretty much, there were two things that everyone said, would be the most likely, new hero class if another one was ever done. And that was the Demon Hunter or the Archdruid.
See, I just don't know how you do an Archdruid. That's just not
Well, we didn't know how a Demon Hunter would be done either, but they did it. So
I don't know. Demon Hunter, I think, has a bit more
I don't know
qualities to it.
Even Blizzard themselves, as you had said earlier on in the broadcast from yesterday, you said Blizzard was like, well, we don't know how to do this because it would be like half a rogue and half a fucking warlock.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do with this? So they found a way to make it work. I'm sure if they wanted to, they could find a way to make an Archdruid work. But going on to the more relevant aspect of this, because back during Wrath of the Lich King, when the DKs were the thing, for one thing, when they started out, they were retardedly overpowered.
Mm.
They were insane. Like, you would have DKs single tanking, 2 tank encounters on, like heroic mode, 25-man raids.
Mm-hmm.
Just crazy shit. Sometimes even soloing like the last half of a boss by themselves. They were just insanely overpowered. And then Blizzard, as they have often done in the past, not so bad for that now, but used to be, during like Lich King and Cataclysm, when something needed to be nerfed, there were no half measures. They nerfed that sumbitch into the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what they did with the DKs. They nerfed them into the fucking ground, and it was another 2 expansions before they became like close to what they had been before.
But the funny thing about all that was that when DKs first started out, I mean, think about it. It's the way that WoW works is you level up to max level, basically learning your class. It's kind of weird. Like the game beyond the game starts when you hit max level. Everything before then is pretty much just training. And so you slowly learn over the course of the leveling experience how to play your class. But with DKs, there was none of that. You started at level 55, and you had all these advanced, powerful abilities, and you just had a lot of idiots playing DKs. And I just have to think, is that what's going to be the Demon Hunter for like a year and a half? Is it just going to be like the Demon Hunter will become that guy where you're like, oh god.
I think there will be a lot of it. And I think you and I will probably be 2 of them.
I don't think I'll stick with a Demon Hunter long enough to get that far.
I don't know. Now, one thing I'll say about you, though, is the thing where, like, you like to go with whatever class feels appropriate to an expansion.
I did. I think I'm going to stick with the Paladin, though, because...
You think the Rep Pally broke you of that phase?
The Rep Pally broke me of that phase because it's actually super fun to play. And I still think in terms of, thematic weight, the Paladin would still be appropriate for Legion because Paladins fight 2 things. They fight the Legion and they fight the Undead. So it works from a thematic standpoint. And they're reviving the Paladin Order of the Silver Hand, as part of the whole class hall thing, which we didn't get to. We kind of stopped the live reaction part of the show last week just before they got to that. So let's talk a bit about that. Basically, they're either reviving or inventing orders for the classes. Paladins will be Order of the Silver Hand.
Which, about fucking time that makes a comeback.
Yeah, they sort of merged them into the Argent Crusade for a while. And I guess they finally told Tyrion to go fuck himself. But,
look, 3 statues is enough, okay? Yeah,
he probably had plans to invade Stormwind and replace the head on Varian statue of him, of his own. But, Order of Silverhand for Paladins, I assume it'll be the, Earthen Circle, or, no, what's the Shaman one? The Earthen Ring.
The Earthen Ring, yeah. And
it's a Cenarian Circle.
Yeah, Cenarian Circle for the Druids. What's going to be harder is going to be like for Hunters and Warriors.
Oh, no, Hunters are easy.
Nessingwary?
No. NRA. National Rifle Association of Azeroth.
National Riflemen of Azeroth, yeah.
Yes.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I bet you it'll have some kind of Nessingwary tie-in.
Oh, that would suck if you were a hunter and you had to, like, associate with Nessingwary. But, Yeah, and like for there are no, like I don't know what you do for warriors, for example, because warriors I've always just assumed are soldiers in their individual armies. So like I don't know how they'd have their own individual order, right? Like if you're an orc warrior, you're just part of the Orgrimmar army. Like there's no order. Like if you get what I'm saying, but I'm sure they'll think of something. Point being that the Order of the Silver Hand, which is awesome, is making a comeback, and it's going to be Paladin exclusive, so I'll stick for the Paladin. But they're going to treat these class orders like they are the next evolution of garrisons, basically. Your character will be the head of the order, and you'll have champions of that order who will be sort of like your followers, and that'll be the next garrison sort of mechanic. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that, because I know you really weren't big on the garrison in Draenor, and I wanted to ask if any of this sort of makes you think that they might be heading in the right direction to get you interested in it again, or if you still don't give any shits.
I'm going to have to see it and try it. As it stands right now, it seems like basically the same thing with a few minor changes.
Mm-hmm.
With just like a different face slapped on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not condemning it. I'm just saying that right now I'm just kind of like, meh. And I'm going to leave like judgment on that until I actually get to play it.
See, there's enough. Now, okay, I admit I enjoyed the garrisons, but I definitely see the drawbacks to it. The things about this class system that this class order system that's replacing it, that makes me think that it'll be better. One, there's lore attached to it, and being into lore, I dig that. Like, instead of just some random garrison, you're the head of the Order of the Silver Hand. That's really cool to me. And two, I guess the best way to explain it is that there's going to be more variety. Like, okay, they added achievements and they added events to try to get you to check out your friend's garrisons. Problem is that even with all the variations of buildings that you could put in your garrison, once you've seen one, you've pretty much seen them all. All Alliance garrisons have the same setup. All Horde garrisons have the same setup. So once you've seen yours, there's really nothing interesting. There's really nothing interesting about someone else's. But here, it's all class based. So if you have a friend, if you're a paladin, you have a friend who's, say, a shaman, who plays a shaman, then going over to their, I guess, order hall, that would be more interesting, because it's not like you're just seeing a redux of what you're already doing. You get to see something entirely different.
The thing is, from what I understood, like, you won't be able to go into other class halls.
I didn't see anything that said you wouldn't be able to.
I'm pretty sure. Let me check MMO Champion here real quick and look at it, because I'm pretty sure that's what they said. Artifacts, class orders. They'll be heavy focus on class identity. You share them. You share them with other players of your class. Only members of your class can enter this area, similar to the Death Knight starting area.
Oh, well, that's stupid.
And yeah, I see that being a problem. Where, I mean, like, you and I are going to be cool because we both have pallies, right? But, like, these other poor bastards, like, if...
Hey, Doc, do you want to see the Order of the Silver Hand? Well, fuck you!
Yeah, fuck off! You can't! Because you have druid cooties, and you're not allowed.
Dirt person!
Yeah. We don't allow bark people. Fucking pollinating all up in our shit with your druid spores. Bit of a, inside joke there. Yeah, so I can see that being a problem, and it is kind of a legitimate gripe, because like with the garrison, you could bring your friends in with you, no matter what class you were, whatever, And
that's disappointing because I like the idea, like, if you're a paladin, right? Or like, say if Doc wanted to show either one of us, like, the druid the druid class, so it's like, oh, well, come on over, and there's an incentive for me to do that because I don't see it otherwise. And, maybe, obviously you'd be limited, you'd just be visiting, so it's not like you could do much in it, but you get to pop over and like, oh, okay, I get to see this cool stuff, this is pretty neat. So, I don't know, missed opportunity. I get what they're going for, like, they want class identity, but at the same time,
it's one of those things where, again, no half measures, right? Like, okay, so all we really asked for initially was, some class quests, maybe some class-specific items.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, you want class items? Artifacts! It's like, well, I didn't actually want the fucking Ashbringer. I just, wanted a Paladin exclusive hammer or something, but okay.
Right. Now they're like, nigga, you want class identity? You got it!
We put artifacts in your class halls!
Yeah.
And by the way, I found out that will be how apparently we will be able to get the artifacts, sir. They're class hall they're tied into the class halls, and because everyone gets to be the head of the order in their own little universe,
so
that means
every
we'll all
fucking
have
Ret Pally is gonna have fucking Ashbringer.
Yes. Basically. Which,
oh, so much QQ is going to be had about that.
But
much rage.
But they did say that they're adding basically a spec tree to the artifact weapons.
Right, and I've seen that and it looked cool. It even changes the appearance, where you can have the flaming Ashbringer, the corrupted Ashbringer.
Yeah, so I don't see
it. The Ginsu blade, which will cut through a lead pipe and then slice a tomato evenly.
Yeah, the one where they just stuck more blades on the Ashbringer. But yeah, so I don't see it being that much of a I don't see it being as big of a problem because it's not like everyone's going to be running around with the Ashbringer. Like, people will have different variations of it, right? So, and not every paladin's gonna be Ret. So it's not like every paladin will have it.
Well, yeah.
Fuck you, holy pallies!
Right. We should even let them in the class hall. They'll get the room off to the side.
Hey guys, can we come out now? No!
Yeah. Ugh, Jesus. But, I mean, it's an interesting idea. I do like more class identity. I think this is going a bit too far.
It is. Like I said, I was one of the proponents of, class-specific items, and it's I didn't want the Ashbringer as a weapon. I just want, paladins are known for their warhammers, right? So I was give us, a really kind of cool, holy-looking hammer as, a class quest that we can get. Something like that. I don't want the Ashbringer. They're oh, you want class-specific? Oh, you got the Ashbringer, motherfucker. How do you like that? I'm well, it's not really what I have. Okay, I guess it's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I have to think that a lot of that ties into, the whole everything you love kind of thing. They're overcompensating big. You all like Dalaran from Northrend, right? Why, here's Dalaran again.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's interesting. There's just so many callbacks and cues being thrown into this game, and it's awesome in a way, and in another way, it's kind of, it feels very obvious that they are reaching hard. Okay, just in, what was it? Draenor. Mm-hmm. They altered, the Holy Wrath or not Avenging Wrath. Holy Avenger was what it was. Because used to be when you activated that as a Ret Pally, you held Ashbringer for that 30 seconds.
Yeah, they did that in Pandaria, and then they got rid of it in Draenor.
Oh, okay. Right, yeah, exactly. And they said that when they did it, because they didn't want everyone having Ashbringer.
Yeah.
And then,
well, when you first showed it to me, I was freaking out. I was how the fuck did you get the Ashbringer?
Yeah, and I didn't say shit, cause I just wanted to fuck with you for 5 minutes. And I'm nah, dude, it's just the ability, man. It's cool.
But yeah, no, they took the transforming weapon out of, from the Ashbringer, cause they're well, not every paladin won't have the Ashbringer, so we took that out. And then they went from that, and they took that out at the start of Draenor, and by the end of Draenor, they're ready to give every Ret Pally the Ashbringer.
Yeah. Here, have them forever. I wonder if they're like Chinese knockoffs.
Like, it's not the real Ashbringer.
Right.
It's just like...
What if we have like emergency
some
written on the
sweatshop in
side?
Pandaria.
Right, yes. Yes.
A bunch of like Pandarian peasants are like making replica Ashbringers
For like 2 cents an hour.
And there's like some pissed off gnome with a whip as like the foreman.
Yeah, because his mommy and daddy didn't love him. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm not opposed to the idea. I think it's really interesting. I think it's really cool. But I know that there's going to be a lot of backlash about that. I mean, people have been QQing about legendaries becoming, too prolific. And, even when Lich King was the dawn of the epics or, welfare epics debate.
Here's the thing, I don't think it's gonna harm the game, because Lich King was like, Lich King is when they start giving out the welfare epics. Yeah, and Lich King also saw the greatest rise and peak of subscribers, so maybe there's a lot of reasons why WoW's losing subscribers. I don't think their quote-unquote welfare epics and legendaries are that reason. I don't think
But, and I'm not saying whether these bitchings or these gripes are founded and reasonable. I'm just saying that it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Because you know how the player base is, you know how the community is, they're going to bitch about
Yeah, but they're all like Downs monkeys.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. But at the same time, there's going to be a lot of bitching.
And you should know that you've been suspended from MMO Champions forums multiple times for use of the word dullard.
Yes, I have. Dullard, idiot, simpleton. I was banned once for simpleton. Yes. And it's like, I'm not, it's always funny when that happens, because it's not like I'm saying, your mother sucks cocks in hell, or you cunt shitting nincompoop. Nothing like that. Nothing like blatantly profane. Nothing even extremely offensive. And I'll just be like, who is this dullard? Or, what is this simpleton on about? And boom! 24-hour ban, 3-day ban, 1-week ban. And I'm just like, I really don't care, because I just read the front page normally anyways. Like, sometimes I'll get drunk and I'll get bored and I'll go on MMO Champion and just kind of read the threads. And, I'll see someone whose idiocy just mandates that I respond. And it's not like subjective idiocy, like, they disagree with me, I'm gonna call them stupid. No, it's like, just something really off the wall, like shoddily typed, can barely understand it or read it. Mm-hmm. One of those kind of things. So, I mean, it's not like it's even subjective idiocy where I'm just trying to shout down someone's opinion. I'm like, no, this person's an idiot. Why are they here?
But yes, I mean, I see people complaining about that, but I mean, they can complain all they want. At the end of the day, that's not gonna be what drives subscribers away. Like I said, Lich King did a lot of this stuff, and they had the highest, amount of, subscribing, raising subscribers. So that's not a problem. Like, I don't see it as a problem. To me, at this point, due to the state we're at with the subscriber numbers, the only things I see as problematic in WoW are things that could potentially cost them more subscribers. Anything else is fucking fine. Like, it's whatever. Apparently, now I know this wouldn't have been a focus of, you or I, but did you take a look at any of the new PvP systems that they're implementing for Legion?
I honestly did not, because
it's actually kind of a throwback to vanilla, kind of.
Oh yeah, it's like a level up system, right?
It's a ranking system, basically.
Yeah, I did see that.
Which I think is nice, because they had the original ranking system for vanilla, and then when they completely redid it for BC, they dropped it.
So does this mean they're getting rid of PvP gear?
I don't think they're getting rid of PvP gear necessarily. They just said that they didn't want PvP gear to be a huge part of it, because part of the problem right now, right, is that if you or I, who, like, we don't have neither of us have any PvP gear, right? If we wanted to PvP, first we would have to earn the points to buy the gear, and then we'd have to earn enough points to buy enough of the gear to the point that we weren't squishy. So that's a lot of dying frequently, basically. And that's no fun, and they want to avoid that. They want to make it easier for someone who has no PvP gear to pick up PvP and be able to hold their own to the point where they can get, like, full sets of awesome gear. So I don't think they're getting rid of PvP gear entirely. They're just gonna make the dependence on it less of a factor.
Well, like, and this is what I was always saying, like, during Lich King and Kata, when a class would be nerfed because of PvP. I was like, well, why can't they just make PvP different to where, you know, you don't have to nerf PvE for PvP, and I don't have to suffer in my DPS because, you know, because of the fucking PvP crowd, which you know, you and I once in a while will get drunk, we'll feel lulzy, we'll go PvP for a couple of hours.
It's really sad, though.
Right, and it's very sad when it happens. It's very seldom, like maybe 2 or 3 times a year you and I will do that. And, you know, then a few hours later we're reminded why we don't do it more often. And then, you know, the itch is scratched and we go back to flying around aimlessly in Stormwind for a few hours.
Woo!
I know, right? So, I think this is a better solution. This is what I was saying before.
Productivity.
You know, right? Just make PvP different. Make it revolve around different mechanics than PvE does, and then you don't have to, you know, nerf one to satisfy the other.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
And another big thing I want to talk about, and this actually wasn't something that they said was going to be in it. It's something that they didn't even bring up at all. So it's kind of it's something they didn't do that I like. They didn't redesign the talent system. Thank God. This will be, I think, a record 3 expansions in a row now where they've kept the talent trees the same.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people, like, a lot of people think the current talent trees are oversimplified. And I can see why you'd think that, but at the same time, I honestly don't give a shit. I don't care if they're super complicated and customizable, and I don't care if they're simple, or if they're, like, as simple as can be. I really don't care, because to me, talent specking, to me, like, talent tree organization has never been my favorite part of an MMO or an RPG. It's just sort of a chore to me that I have to do. And so whatever form it takes, I'm just gonna do it and then forget about it. So I don't care what route they take. I just want them to stick with one, and it seems like they're sticking with one.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy for that. They redesigned it in Pandoria, then we had Draenor, and now it's gonna be Legion. I like that. I do. Like, and stop tinkering with it, and I'll be happy. And I am now.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, I think it's a step in the right direction. Again, it's one of those things where at this stage we can't really say, yes, this is going to be good, this is going to be bad. Undoubtedly some people will complain for whatever reason. I think it's a step in the right direction.
Guys, maybe we should play it before we complain. No! Kind of goes back to our, discussion on, class nerfs and buffs. It's like, you think maybe you should wait to play the new layout before deciding? No! I have to call the developers gay slurs until I get what I want.
It always works.
But yeah, I mean, all in all, I like it. I have to say, I'm a bit excited. Again, it's probably a lot of my lore fan biases coming in. I mean, just mentioning that the Silver Hand is coming back is enough to get me hard.
Well, I mean, Illidan coming back, I think, would have been enough to have gotten you hard, right?
Well, no. I mean, they're lucky they had that Silver Hand shit in there, or else Illidan just might have, like, unsubscribing right now!
See, what I would have really liked to have seen happen would be in that opening cinematic that they showed where Gul'dan is, you know, finding Illidan in the cave, and he's, you know, you don't really see Illidan, he's just kind of like behind this wall
he's encased in carbonite.
Carbonite, glass, ice, whatever it is. I would have liked to have seen where, like, you hear this noise, and maybe, like, you see his hand reach out as he shatters it, and then it cuts away from Illidan, you still never really see him, and you just hear, "You are not prepared!" That would have been awesome.
I thought you were gonna say that his hand breaks out and it's holding a Linkin Park CD. Crawling in my skin.
You are not prepared for my sorrow.
But I'm confused, and I'm sure this will be sorted out. I'm sure that this will be explained. What is Illidan's current status? Because you and I seem to be the only people on the fucking planet who remembers his brother Malfurion in a cataquest mentioning that Illidan was fine and he was just being pouty in Outlands.
Yeah.
I mean, you do this quest, it's like this random quest for Malfurion Stormrage, and when you turn it in, the turn-in text is like, something, my brother is basically being a whiny bitch in Outlands.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, so I guess Illidan's alive, he's just being a bitch, which is totally in keeping with his character.
Meanwhile, everyone, including Blizzard themselves,
are jumping through these hoops of how could we bring Illidan back?
Right, and it's like, are they not, and, you know, when I first seen that, like, hour and a half long thing that Pride did, you know, the Illidan theory, about how Illidan could come back, meanwhile he's fighting the urge to start wanking the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there through that entire thing, and I'm like, I know I've seen that quest text in Outlands. Or in Hyjal.
Mm-hmm.
During Cataclysm, and then, you know, the next time you and I talk, I'm like, hey, Mike, do you remember that quest where it said Illidan was just pouting in Outlands? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so I didn't imagine that? You're like, I don't think so.
I actually went back online.
I did too.
I looked up the quest.
Yeah, I did too. Well, I went back on an alt when I was leveling through that area. I think it was on my DK. And I went back and I looked through that area. And, yeah, no, it was totally there.
I went back online. I actually went through quest by quest, every quest Malfurion gives in Hyjal, and I found it. And I found the quest text when you turn it in, and it's like, yeah, there it is.
Okay, so you know how, like, at every BlizzCon, there's this kind of doofy kid in the red shirt, right?
Who asks, like, it's like, so how come you guys didn't read your own fucking
Why
lore?
hasn't he asked this?
Yeah, isn't this his job?
Right. I think his name's Ian. Hey, Ian. Step up, pal. You've got one job. One job. And you're slipping, pal. You're slipping.
Yeah, you're the one who's supposed to remember these minute details and
we're
hold
just
Blizzard
two
accountable.
Right, we're just two fucking drunks. And we're figuring this out. Step it up, dude. Step it up. You know, if you want something done right, Mike, you've got to do it yourself.
I'm gonna go to BlizzCon. I'm gonna bring a red shirt.
We
what?
totally should.
Abandoned your responsibilities.
We should show up at BlizzCon wearing red shirts and the fucking beer hats. In one, like, or maybe each of us with like a shirt that I'm with stupid, pointing to one another. Would be fucking great. As I get thrown out like the 5th time that day because no smoking in the area. Pansies.
Dude, it's California, you know.
Right? They shoot you on, I think they shoot you on sight if you like smoke walking down a sidewalk.
But yeah, no, I want someone to bring it up. Like, I just want Blizzard to be made aware of it. I just want someone else in the world to acknowledge that it happened, because god damn it, it did, and it's there. It's in black and white on the internet. Look it up. But nobody talks about it. It's maddening. It's like I'm from this alternate universe where like this happened, and I found myself in the universe where it didn't happen, and everyone is just ignoring. And I'm like, am I on crazy pills? Did I imagine this? Are you and I in some sort of shared delusion? And if we were, why would we share a delusion about Illidan?
Yeah, of all things for us to share a delusion about, it's not going to be fucking Illidan. It would be Argus expansion? I don't know.
No, I'm with you. They're gonna save Argus for when they finally decide to pull the plug, and Argus will be the last one.
Yeah, which at this rate, if this continues, it may be the next one.
I don't know.
Because look at it, they've got Sargeras in already. They've got Sargeras' tomb. For all we know, we might fight Sargeras this expansion. Not kill him. I still can't even comprehend how a fight with Sargeras would go.
because as Cataclysm
Well,
showed, they
you
had
would beat his fingernails.
and then he just kind of gets up on life. And
I'm so depressed. And then
And he just
Illidan
lies
shows
there
up
being
with the entire Linkin Park discography. Here you go, buddy! And then he just fucking blows his brains out. Wow, that went dark really quick. And then Thrall carries baby Thrall through the portal.
I'm hoping that Thrall dies. I really hope he dies in this. Because they're saying that the artifact weapons are from heroes who have either died or have lost hope. I want Thrall to die. I want someone to shoot him. The guns exist in the Warcraft universe. I want some fucking dwarf musketeer to fucking shoot him. And not even a named dwarf. Just one of the NPCs who guard fucking Ironforge. That's how Thrall dies. He gets shot in the back of the head by a nameless dwarf.
Who they insert obligatory Lee Harvey Oswald joke in with the dwarf's name.
Yes.
Because it would be Blizzard and they'd so do that probably, and then people would complain and they'd pull it out.
But yeah, I like it. I'm excited about it. There's a lot going on. Illidan's my biggest complaint, because I just don't like him.
See, I don't mind Illidan. I'm at least, I fully get what you're saying about the whole emo thing. I really do. But at the same time, it's been many years.
likes my brother more than me.
Well,
Man up and get a prostitute.
But what I'm saying is, it's been many years since Illidan's been an active player in World of Warcraft.
Yes, many glorious years.
So let's see what they're going to do with him character-wise before before we make any judgment.
Oh, Gul'dan, my life is so sad.
So, I mean, they may change his character art somewhat. They may change his personality a little bit. I've got to get at least one You Were Not Prepared, though.
Oh, they'll put it in. Blizzard can't help themselves. They will put it in. You Are Not Prepared.
But yeah, let's see. What else did we want to go over here? We've gone over, okay, kind of going back and forward at the same time a little bit here. We mentioned that this has a lot of calls to Wrath of the Lich King in a lot of ways, down, including the aesthetics of a lot of the zones, the Vikral, who were a prominent enemy in Wrath of the Lich King.
I would go so far as to say this is Wrath of the Lich King Redux with the Legion replacing the Scourge.
Possibly, and that could become more of a thing depending on if they bring in the new Lich King, Bolvar, who was elected on his very successful platform of "I will not conquer and enslave the world."
I will not usher in the zombie apocalypse.
Right, it tested very well with focus groups, and he rode that fucker all the way to the office. But we're also getting a Wrath of the Lich King recycled dungeon, and evidently with new enemies and shit like that. Violet Hold.
Well, yeah, it makes sense if Dalaran's coming back.
Yeah, it does.
But at this point, right? I mean, at this point, isn't the Violet Hold to be some impenetrable prison? That's gonna be the second time now that we've had to go in and sort their shit out. So, what the hell, Violet Hold?
The second time the Violet Hold was penetrated, giggity.
Yes, but seriously, in the lore, it's supposed to be magical Alcatraz, and this is going to be twice now.
Matratraz?
This is going to be twice now.
Someone send this to you.
Twice now that it's just been completely fucking compromised. So, I don't know. Get your shit together, Kieran Tor.
No, they won't.
Also, I'm eagerly awaiting the third variation of the Mage Dalaran portal. So now mages will be able to troll you in multiple ways if you ask for a portal to Dalaran.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's a thing.
I'm just saying. It'll happen. But, all in all, you brought up Dungeons and Raids. Are there any in particular that catch your eye?
Not really. Maybe some will stand out, and again, we'll bring it up briefly in a blurb in a future episode.
I do find it interesting that, unless I am mistaken, Tomb of Sargeras will actually be very early on in the expansion. You'd think that'd be the natural end raid, but it's not going to be.
Well, there's multiple ways for that to play out. I mean, I don't know. I think at the very least it'll end up being some kind of a plot point that will spread, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe we could see maybe a finale expansion next time. I don't know. I mean,
Okay, I do think you're being a bit quick to say that this is the second to last expansion, because, I mean, there's a lot of unknowns going in. I mean, hypothetically, say Blizzard gets their shit together and subscriber numbers rebound and stay steadily high throughout Legion's lifespan. Are they gonna say, oh, well, the game seems to be popular again, but we're killing it anyway? No, they're not gonna.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to. I said it could be. I'm not like calling it or anything, but I'm saying that if the subscriber numbers continue to do what they're doing over the next 3 years, then it is an option that they have to explore at this point with this expansion. If they want, okay, assuming we're right, and an Argus expedition is the finale, right? If they feel the need to go there from this point, that option is open. That's all that I'm saying. I'm not saying that they will take it. I'm not saying it will go that way. I'm saying that it is there.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think the way that the Legion works, it's not even, they could still kick it down the road for, say, 5 more expansions if the subscriber base is there to support 5 more expansions. Because the Legion works on a very cosmic timetable, right? So it's always one of those things where it's like, well, we can bring the Legion back to do Argus at any point in time, really, because they are beings beyond our comprehension with memories that stretch through the millennia.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it could be, and I'm sure, like, even without the Legion, they could come up with another threat.
You've got Old Gods.
Yeah, you've got Old Gods. We've still got Sylvanas kicking around.
Got Sylvanas, or they could just, make the Horde idiots again, because, the Horde are always good for kind of imploding in a orgy of stupidity and conquest.
I would like to see the Alliance implode into an orgy of stupidity and conquest.
But see, it would never happen because one, it goes against how Blizzard sees the Alliance, and two,
they would actually have to write for the Alliance.
Well, it's also if you look at the lore, right? The Alliance is a defensive organization. It was formed specifically to defend against the Horde, and I don't know, it's kind of like NATO, right? Like, NATO was never gonna be the ones to start World War III. It was purely to protect its member states in the event that the Soviets started World War III.
Right.
And so, I just don't think that, from the lore perspective or from the development end, there's just that idea that the Alliance would ever kind of go on the warpath. It's just not what the Alliance is, and I see a lot of people saying, oh, well, I'd like to see the Alliance do that, if only to get lore, and I think it's sad that I think the implication that Blizzard can only write good lore for a faction when they're being evil, I think is kind of sad.
Yeah.
Maybe Blizzard should learn how to write good lore for factions when they're not being evil. Is that a possibility?
Nope. Nope. You, sir, ask for too fucking much. That being said, though, is there anything else about this that we want to throw in?
I can only think of one other thing.
Okay.
These artifact weapons better be transmogrifiable after they become obsolete and whatever comes next, or there's going to be massive bitching.
That's a good point. And, I kind of see them not doing that.
Yeah, but, I mean, you saw how people QQ'd when Blizzard made Admiral Tyler's Greatsword non-transmogrifiable.
Oh, yeah. No, I totally get it. I mean, there's two ways of looking at it. One, it's Ashbringer. Should it be able to be transmogrified?
But my argument is that they're giving it to everyone
right,
anyway.
Exactly.
So.
And that's the counterpoint to that. Well, we're all getting it, so why not? I also wonder what that's going to do to like weapons balancing in the game. Like, is it going to be like so great at any given point that you're not going to want another weapon? By rights, it should be.
I'm going to guess that
from a gameplay design standpoint, it may not be.
I see it in a situation very similar to the legendary cloak from Pandaria, right? Where at the end of that quest line, you got your legendary cloak, and then once Draenor started, you actually could go from level 90 to level 100 without ever getting a cloak upgrade because the legendary cloak was just that good. So I see kind of a thing where, like, you get your artifact weapon in Legion, and then come whatever happens next, the artifact weapon is probably still good for, like, the entire leveling process of the next expansion, but then eventually, once you start doing raids and dungeons, you'll start to get better stuff.
Possibly. I mean, like, now if they do it to where, like, you would get different enhancements for said artifact weapon that would come as drops, that would serve, like, the same purpose as weapons, like, in place of the normal weapons, that could work. Again, because, I mean, nothing nothing should be able to, by all rights, nothing should be better than your artifact weapon. I mean, we're talking Ashbringer, and I know that's all you and I have mentioned in this thing because we're both paladins, and that's the one that comes to mind the quickest. For Shammy's Doomhammer. Okay, DKs are going to get like a reconstructed Frostmourne.
DKs are going to get...
Hungers.
It's going to be Frostmourne reconstructed into a pair of rune blades, is what they said that DKs are going to get. Yeah. Which is actually interesting because people actually asked what happened to the blade of Frostmourne, like what happened to the shards of Frostmourne. And for the longest time, Blizzard was non-committal, but hinted that Sylvanas took them and was reforging it.
Right.
But now it's like, nope, DKs for the artifact weapon are gonna make them into their own rune blades. And so, like, that works, that's properly epic for the DK lore, but it also means that Sylvanas doesn't have them, so... Okay.
Maybe she has some of them?
Maybe she has the hilt.
Maybe she has the hilt and she has to go on the quest?
No.
From Lich King?
I finally got that.
I need Fester Gut spores!
Does anyone want a group?
Yeah. So it'll be at least another few years before she gets that together. She's right fucked.
Yeah. Oh, man. But yeah, so that's interesting. And they've obviously, I do feel bad for some classes though, because, okay, some classes have the obvious artifact weapons. Ashbringer for, paladins, Doomhammer for shamans, although interestingly enough, Doomhammer for the longest time was Orgrim Doomhammer's weapon, and he wasn't a shaman, he was just a warrior. It only really became a shaman weapon with Thrall. But anyway, whatever, it works. DKs are gonna make rune blades out of Frostmourne. Then what's the warrior sword gonna be? Or what are they gonna do for mages? A lot of these, they're just gonna make up stuff, which works, but it's just not gonna be as epically cool as, say, the Ashbringer or Doomhammer.
Very true. I mean, we'll see.
Also, on my shaman, if I'm tired of Thrall and his stupid face, can I put, like, a sticker over the Frostwolf emblem on the Doomhammer?
I don't see why not. Let me take a look here at the 36 artifacts, one for each specialization.
Oh, okay, so everyone's gonna get... So,
yeah,
okay.
every artifacts for everyone. All the bitches. You start by seeking out the artifact for your spec. Rep Pally, Ashbringer, DK, yeah, we've just covered that. Each artifact has a trait tree. You choose how you navigate the tree. Some are simple damage increases. Some are new utilities, such as Death Knights resurrecting themselves. Each weapon has different looks you can unlock, yada, yada, yada. The base weapon has a look, we all know, blah, blah, blah. Staff for a monk, blah, blah, blah. Fire mage, getting blade, blah, blah. Eagle spear, Icebringer and Soul Reaper, 4 out of Frostmourne. Lots of skulls, they claim. Doomhammer. Okay, so nothing about how this is going to impact like weapons drops and weapons balancing in the game. And I know this is getting a little bit more nuts and bolts mechanics than we normally get into about a WoW discussion. But since it's tying into very lore-centric, very epic items, to use the term appropriately for a change, it's kind of appropriate. But I guess that's just something we're just going to have to wait and see, how they do. Looking back on it, again, I know I said this yesterday, but the presentation that they gave for this 3 months earlier than BlizzCon was actually more coherent than they gave us for Draenor at BlizzCon. Right? Because, even at Draenor, or even at BlizzCon for Draenor, they didn't even have, the opening teaser cinematic, what they had with Gul'dan this time. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, overall, it was actually a lot more polished than I would have expected. I know I kind of said, well, it would have been nice if the actual overview video that they did was a little more comprehensive, letting us know where the fuck it takes place, because I swear those few opening shots looked like Draenor still to me.
Some of it did, but I started getting the sense that it was Azeroth when I started seeing Night Elf architecture, and there's no Night Elves on Draenor, so I'm like, okay, that's gotta be Azeroth. And I guess that means that the Ogre continent on Draenor, which is on the Draenor map, just isn't gonna be explored, at least not yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. And also, I would have thought they would have put this on the other side of the world or something. That main half of the world there is getting really cramped. I'm just saying.
It is, but at the same time, it means that, again, I guess it leaves their options open if they're not going to end it. If they have more expansions lined up, that there's still an entire half of the world that they can do whatever the fuck they want over there. And I kind of see this being on the main side of the world because it's kind of the conclusion to a story. It's like, okay, well, we dealt with the Legion at the end of Draenor, so we have to follow that story up. So here's the main Legion expansion. And we're going to have that, Tomb of Sargeras. Where's the Tomb of Sargeras? It's on this side of the world. So I think we'll eventually get around to the other side of Azeroth. It's just a matter of them tying up all their loose ends on this side first.
Yeah, very true. But I guess that pretty much covers it for now, right?
Yes, it does.
Rest assured, this is our new drum to beat the hell out of for the next few months, as we find out more. So, we'll see. Yeah, I guess this wraps it up for episodes 60 and 60.5 of Bags.
Indeed it does. Catch us on Twitter at a Geek Show. Email us at basicallygeekshow@gmail.com. You can catch us at basicallyasportshow.com, as well as on YouTube, Spreaker, and Stitcher. For Jack, this is Mike, and we're signing off.
Good night, everybody. Oh.